that I see a lot in the self-improvement space is people wanting to get into relationships. People believe that they've been missing out for so long, and now that is their number one goal at the moment, is to get into a relationship. And the thing is, with a lot of people, if not everyone that has discovered or is on self-improvement, is that you start as someone who usually hasn't been in a relationship anyway. You start as a gamer who plays video games all day, you don't go to the gym or work out, you don't go outside, you're not desirable as a partner. So when you start doing self-improvement, you start bettering yourself, you start to think, well, surely now I can get out there. But the issue is that the reason that you're trying to get into a relationship is completely flawed. And I see this a lot in the Discord servers that I'm in, Sam Harbonator's Discord, Sam Harbour and his Discord. I see it a lot. Guys are always asking about, should I go talk to this girl? Should I be in a relationship with this girl? I'm unsure, I don't know about this, I don't know about that. And the thing that I will always say when it comes to that is, are you certain that you actually want a relationship with this person, or you want a relationship because of how it makes you feel? Or just a relationship in general because of how it makes you feel? The thing is, in the self-improvement space, for some reason, I found that it's very much neglected why we do things. Why do we need to get a six-pack? Why do we need to be in a relationship? Why do we need to wake up at 5 in the morning? A lot of people just do it, and they don't really have a decent enough why, which is why doing things is difficult anyway, because you don't know why you're doing it. That's why discipline is difficult for some things. And when it comes to relationships, is that the more desire you have for something that is outside yourself, the less that you're giving it to yourself internally. The thing that I found, for me personally at least, is that being in a relationship or speaking to someone, in a way that's not just friendly, not just as friends, as something slightly more, is a lot of the time you're looking for validation. A lot of people who come from being down, from being upset, angry, depressed, they're insecure. And that's true, you're going to be insecure because you haven't looked after your body, you haven't looked after yourself. And I've seen some guys who've just got immaculate physiques, who are doing really well, and they're still insecure, and that's something that is difficult to work on. And I ask them each time, why are you looking for a relationship? Do you truly want to have this companionship, this share of values, to potentially start a family? Or do you just want it to feel validated because you yourself don't believe that you're lovable or attractive or wanted? And it's easily enough done. I think as a young man, it's very easy to feel unwanted, unlovable, disgusting. I know I've been there, I felt that a lot of times. And what happened for me is that I kind of went back and thought about why I feel this way about myself. And for me, it goes all the way back to primary school. It goes back to girls being dared by each other to touch me, to just come up and touch me on the arm or speak to me. And I didn't really think about it at the time, but that was the thing that caused me to have this need for validation sometimes. And this isn't some kind of oh, woe is me, I now get to treat everyone like a, this isn't some kind of woe is me, now I get to treat everyone like shit because I feel bad. No, that's not how it works. But I realized where that comes from. My insecurity comes from someone giving it to me. We're not born with insecurities. None of us are born insecure. If a little kid draws a drawing, they think it's good. They think it's good and they're proud of it. And only until another kid says that their drawing is bad, do they believe it's bad. And these insecurities, they're given to us by other people, mainly other children, but sometimes in the horrible instances, it's other adults, or sometimes even our parents. We hold on to these negative self-beliefs because someone's given them to us. And I think it's important to go back to where you got that self-belief from and remove it. And I know it's easy to think that based on how other people treat you is what you are, but everyone perceives everything differently. Reality is not how I perceive it, it's not how you perceive it, it's not how anyone else perceives it. Reality is somewhere jumbled up in the middle. And just because someone else says you're unattractive or you're ugly doesn't mean that you are. It also means that person's a bit of a cunt, I'll be honest. That person's a bit of a piece of shit. And do you respect that person's opinion? Whether that person said it months or years or weeks or even days ago, do you want to be like that person? Do you respect that person? Do you respect their opinion? Chances are probably no. And that's been a very difficult part for me, is to go back and think about why. Why did I want to feel wanted? It's because I had no internal validation. When you lack something within, you look for it outside of yourself, right? If you've got, I mean, this is a drastic example, I suppose, or a kind of like, fundamental example, but if you are part of a group and you have no water, there is no point looking within your current area, like the house that you're in, for water. You need to go and get water somewhere else. You don't have it within, so you look for it without. And the thing is, we end up chasing this validation. We end up chasing the high that comes from feeling wanted or being wanted. We chase the concept that someone else will remove all these feelings, all these like, oh, I don't love myself, but if someone else loves me, I'll love me. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that, brother. It doesn't work like that. It will never work like that. You can't expect someone else to love you when you don't love yourself either. Because it's unfair. It's unfair on them, also yourself. It's tough. It really is tough. And I've kind of been rambling a little bit, but you've got to think, why do you want this? Truly, do you want it just because you want to feel loved or desired or wanted or attractive or whatever? Because it's funny, really, I had a friend who always believed he was ugly, and he was a good looking guy, and he always believed he was ugly. And if ever he was single, he was always looking for someone to validate him. That's because deep down he thought that he wasn't attractive. He thought that he was ugly. He didn't like people taking pictures of him without his consent, which must suck, truly. But the thing is, when you kind of go back and you think about, why do I feel like this? What? Because you don't feel like these things naturally. So who has said these things? And you kind of pull on the rope. You kind of go back and you find the knots that are holding you back. You find the knots that are causing you problems. They're making things less smooth in life. And I think a lot of people, especially young men, fail to realize that being in a relationship just so you can feel wanted or feel loved isn't a fix. It's not a fix for your own issues. It's unfair on the other person and yourself. So the one thing I'll say is that if you really want a relationship, if you really want a relationship, think about it. Because chances are you just want to feel loved. And chasing it from other people, it's a temporary high. It's a spike in dopamine, it's a drug hit, it's whatever you want to call it. And then it crashes down again. And you're there looking for the next thing, trying to, bring it back up, and then it goes down, and you're trying to bring it back up, and then it goes down. But with self-love, I know this sounds like really like airy-fairy, but when you actually love yourself, and you appreciate yourself, and you respect yourself, and you validate yourself, then you don't feel like you need this relationship for the selfish and shallow reasons that you needed it for. You actually think about, how can you love yourself first? Because if something were to happen between you two and you were to split, you don't have that person anymore. You don't have that vice. It's just the same as if you're a coke addict and all of a sudden the cocaine's gone. It's like you shut down and you look for the next thing. You look for the next thing that can give you that kind of validation. And I'll say it with all kind of things, is that it's all about you. It's all coming deep rooted from you, from your past, from things that have happened to you that you need to go back and look at and try and solve. So if you've learned anything from this video, I hope it's that at least before you get into a relationship or feel like you need to be in a relationship, think why. Because ultimately, it's normally something that you're not giving yourself, which is the love that we all deserve.